Hello students, in the previous lecture we have started the powders and we were discussing about the capsules and methods of or of filling of capsules. So there were two methods by which filling of the capsules can be done. First one is heap method and second one is by using simple wooden apparatus. So in case of heap method, powder is placed in the form of heap on the paper or a clean tile. So hold the capsule body and use a spatula to press in the powder. So this method allows the powder to stick on the outside of the capsule. So they also involve too much handling of the capsule. So if the fingers are warm or wet, there is a chance of sticking problem of the gelatin capsule to the finger. So this method is replaced by a simple wooden capsule filling apparatus. So this apparatus consists of a wooden or plastic block containing rows of cavities to hold the capsules. So each row holds different size of capsules. A plastic bridge containing a row of holes corresponding in position to the cavities, and small glass funnels with long stems narrowed enough to pass into the capsule mouth. A plunger made up of either glass, plastic, or thick non-corrodible wire to break blockage. The capsule bodies are placed in the cavities, and a funnel of suitable size is fixed on the hole so that the stem goes into the mouth of the capsule bodies. So the dispensed powder from the paper is poured into the funnel, and the funnel is tapped slowly. So if needed, a plunger is operated to break the blockage and compress the material in the capsule. The capsule is fitted loosely and the weight is checked. So if correct, then tighten the capsules. Next is tablet triturates. So tablet triturates are prepared by molding powder into tablets. So they are flat and circular disc shaped. So usually they are prepared for potent medicaments and highly toxic drugs by diluting them with diluents like sucrose, lactose, and dextrose, etc. So the drug and the diluents are mixed and then moistened with suitable diluents of alcohol. Usually 50-60% alcohol is used and mixed thoroughly so as to get a damp mass. So this damp mass is filled in the perforation of the mold with the spatula. So the excess amount of damp mass is squeezed with the edge of the spatula. So the filled perforated plate is superimposed on another plate having the same number of projecting pegs as that of perforation. So a later pressure is put over the upper plate, which will allow the plate to go downward, leaving the molded tablet on the top of the pegs. So these molded tablets are carefully spread on the clean surface and dried either in air or in oven at a controlled temperature. So second will be bulk powders, which are for internal use. So bulk powders mean supplied in bulk quantities, and patients are instructed to take out the exact dose with the help of measuring spoons and take according to directions of the prescribers. So the popular bulk powders for internal use are antacids, laxatives, electrolyte repressioner, etc. So bulk powders are only advised to dispense when the drugs are non-potent because patients have to measure the dose themselves. So they may do some mistake while measuring the dose and may create the condition of toxicity. So internally used bulk powders are supplied either in powder form or in the form of effervescent granules. So next is powder for external use. Um, they are the powder supplied in the bulk for external use and often sprinkled as per requirement of patient directly on the wound through perforated or sifter top containers. So containers may be of materials like cardboard, glass, or plastic. And sometimes wide mouthed containers are also preferred instead of special type of containers. So dusting powders are the well-known example of external used bulk powders. So they are free-flowing, very fine powders for external use containing antiseptics, antipruritics, astringents, antiperspirants, absorbents, protectives, and lubricants. So the fine state of subdivision of the powder is must to eradicate the effect of irritation and enhance the effectiveness and homogeneity. So the purpose of ingredients like absorbents and lubricants is to absorb the watery portion of the wound and to get stuck on the applied part of the body and to enhance spreadability or flow properties so as to make powder easy to flow on the wounded part respectively. So the dusting powders can be divided into three types. First one is medical dusting powders, second one is surgical dusting powders, and third one is dentifrices. So in case of medical dusting powders, they are usually applied on superficial skin conditions, and sterility is rarely essential. But however, they must be free from spores, and they must be free from the spores of dangerous pathogens like anthrax, tetanus, and gas gangrene. So they are sterilized by maintaining the whole of the powders at not less than 160 degrees centigrade for at least an hour. Other constituents like starch and the zinc oxides are not sterilized. So the purpose of these ingredients in dusting powder is as follow. Purpose of the talc is it is being an excellent lubricant. It is used to enhance the flow property of the powder. And starch is also is an excellent absorbent. So it is used to absorb the watery portion of wound and to get stuck on that part for a long time. And apart from these additives, dusting powders contain boric acid, salicylic acid, and zinc oxide as antiseptics. So the medical dusting powders. So the medical dusting powders are not advised to be applied on open wounds or areas of broken skin. So hence, the label of these powders must bear the following instructions, like for external use only, and do not apply on open wounds and broken skin. So second one is surgical dusting powders. They are used in the body cavities and major wounds, on burns, and on the umbilical cords or infants. Therefore, it is essential to sterilize such powders. So they usually contain antibacterial agents like chlorhexidine and hexachlorophene, and sterilizable maize starch and sterilized talc. So external use powders for body cavities are called insufflations and are defined as follow. So they are medicated dusting powders that are blown by insufflator into the regions such as nose, throat, body cavities like teeth, sockets, vagina, ear, to which it would be difficult to apply the powder directly. So sometimes insufflation intended for the nose are used in the same way as snuff. So we have some limitations of the insufflations, like they are difficult to obtain a measured quantity of medicament and blocked if powder becomes slightly wet. So metered valve aerosol pressure containers overcome these limitations. So another type of dusting powders which are inhaled into the nostrils for their antiseptic, decongestion, or bronchodilator action are called snuffs. So next is dentifrices. So dentifrices is a powder used to clean the teeth with the help of toothbrush. So it should have the following characteristics. It should be finely powdered. It should have cleansing action. Mm, it should have mild degree of abrasiveness, and it should have good flavor. So if it is a paste, then it requires moistening agents, thickening agents, and sweetening agents. So to fulfill the above characteristics of dentifrice, various types of ingredients are added in its formulation like detergent, sodium lauryl sulfate, which provide cleaning action, and precipitated calcium carbonate, dibasic calcium phosphate, calcium sulfate, magnesium carbonate, sodium bicarbonate, and sodium chloride provided with mild degree of abrasiveness, and volatile oils and saccharine, which provide the flavor and taste. So next is special powders. So some special types of powders are dispensed, which require special techniques to dispense since the ingredients show their peculiar properties. Such types may be classified in the following categories as eutectic mixtures, effervescent powders or granules, and powders to be reconstituted. So first one is eutectic mixtures. So they are mixture of powders which are when mixed turns to liquid, and some of the drugs which tend to liquefy on mixing are camphor, thymol, menthol, phenol, aminopyrine, chloral hydrate, acetyl salicylic acid, salol, and acetanilide. So any of these drugs turn to liquid when mixed. So such mixtures are named eutectic mixtures and are defined as the mixtures of low melting point ingredients, so which on mixing together turn to liquid, which form due to depression in the melting point of the mixture below room temperature. So reason is that each ingredient becomes a impurity of one another, so therefore melting point of each of the ingredient is further lowered to below the room temperature, and it ultimately the mixture is liquefied. So next is effervescent powders or granules. So these are the specially formed solid dosage form of medicament, which is intended to be taken internally. So the basic requirements for effervescent granules are medicament and sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and tartaric acid. So the purpose of taking such type of ingredients is to produce effervescence when such preparation is added to water before administration. So the carbon dioxide gas is released as a result of acid-base reaction, and so the preparation is advised to taken while effervescence. So the advantage of effervescent granules are the carbonated water form the carbonated water which formed during this process is it serves to mask the saline or bitter taste of the drug, and carbon dioxide stimulate the flow of gastric juice and accelerate absorption of the medicament, and effervescent granules are preferred to effervescent powders in order to decrease the rate of dissolution in water due to decreasing surface area. So the reaction is sustained so as to avoid complete loss of carbon dioxide. So next point is powders to be reconstituted. So they are supplied in powdered or granules form, with the instruction that the patient should add specified amount of freshly boiled and cooled water to granules or powders, and the bottle is shaken so as to form a homogeneous solution or suspension. So the label should be a storage conditions, and the time limit within the reconstituted preparation should be consumed. So powders to be reconstituted is necessary to dispense when a large dose of medicament is required. So the tablets or capsules does not serve the purpose as number of them will have to be administered. So secondly, when the drug is not stable for a long time, reconstituted powders overcome these two problems. So next is hygroscopic or deliquescent powders. So hygroscopic substances absorb the moisture contents from the atmosphere because of less vapor pressure than the atmospheric water pressure. So after the absorption of the moisture, they remain in the powder form. So deliquescent substances also absorb the moisture contents from the atmosphere and turns to liquid form. So this creates a serious problem to the stability of the medicaments, so which are sensitive against moisture. So to minimize the exposure to the atmosphere, such substances must be supplied in granular form. So they should never be supplied in fine powder form, since this increase the surface area and hence the exposure to the atmosphere. So while dealing with such types of ingredients, apparatus and glasswares, they must be absolutely dried. So the packaging of this powder is very important, and powders must be carefully packed in a double wrapped paper, or one may use aluminum foil or plastic paper to cover the packet. So next is theoretical and practical aspects of dispensing powders. So many journal and operational aspects described in section 1.3.3a and 1.3.3b will be applied in dispensing the powders. So one should refer these two sections of chapter 1 before taking up of dispensing aspects of particular powders. Here we will discuss procedural and practical aspects of different types of powders like compound powders, tablet triturates, apprivs and granules, and dusting powders, dentifrices, eutectic mixtures, and powders to be reconstituted, and hygroscopic and delicacy powders. So next will be compound powders. So to dispense compound powders, following rule should be followed. First rule is always weigh out material for one extra powder, and if quantities of material are in fraction, weigh out for sufficient extra powder to produce directly weighable amounts. And if the total weight of trituration is in fraction, add the calculate amount of diluent to make each powder directly weighable. So if the powder contains any liquid, it should be added by measuring, not by weighing. So weighing is avoided by adjusting the triturate by adding a sufficient diluent and divide it in sufficient number of powders. So the liquid material will be distributed equally in each powder. So method will be and the first step, separate powder slight excess of the ingredient which are crystalline. And second step is weigh out the required amount of each ingredient and diluent if necessary. And in third step, dilute the ingredients of smallest amount with the others and using them in ascending order of weight and adding them in quantities which will double the weight of the mixture by each addition. So in case of fourth step, weigh out the prescribed number of powders and wrap as required. And in case of fifth step, weigh the surplus material which should be roughly equal to the theoretical excess. So if difference is large, it may indicate inaccurate weighing, and exercise should be repeated. So next topic is tablet triturates. So in dispensing of tablet triturates, molds of different sizes, shapes, and capacities have been used, which must be calibrated. So if their capacities are not marked on the back of the mold, so calibration of the mold is done by using lactose paste in 60% alcohol. So fill the molds with the lactose paste and press out the tablets. So dry them for at least 24 hours for complete drying. Weigh only those tablets which are perfect and find out the weight of one mold and record. So next is displacement value of medicament. So since mold is calibrated by lactose, other ingredients such as drugs, they vary in total capacity of the mold because of difference in density of the lactose, and the drugs also volume remain the same. So therefore before incorporating drugs into base, one should know about the weight of drugs which displaces unit weight of base. So the amount of base displaced is deducted from the total required amount of base, so as TOI accommodate the drug in the same volume of the mold. So displacement value medicament is defined as, so the amount of medicament that displaces one part of calibrating agent which is called base. So here we shall discuss one example to make the use of displacement value of the medicament significantly. So student, that is all for the day. In the next lecture we will discuss about the efficient granules. Thank you.